you wouldn't mind clicking that, that'd be great. This first image, I want you to take a look. Which one of these models represents a fourth of the whole? And think about how you know. So take a look at those three pictures. When you know which one or ones, or maybe none of them, y'all been doing 10 ready this week, right? So maybe none of them are right. So represents a fourth, give me a thumb up. Awesome, I got lots of thumbs up. Looks like most of us are done thinking. Who'd like to share their answer about which ones you think represent 1/4? Just raise your hand if you'd like to share. Tell me, sweetheart, what are you thinking?
B.
He says B. Tell me why.
Because there is 4 parts and one of them are shaded.
He said because there's 4 parts and one of them are shaded. So he says that there's 4 parts and one of them are shaded, and that's a fourth. Is that the only one that's 1/4? Or you think there's another one? You have another one?
A.
He said A. And you think it's 1/4 because?
Same thing.
Same.
4 squares and one is shaded.
Okay. What about C?
Actually, not
Oh, hang on. Tell me your name, sweetheart. I know it from John Coleman, but it has left me. Tell me your name. Carson. That's right, Carson. So Carson's saying it's only A and B and not C. And he's saying that's because one part is shaded and there's 4 parts. What do you think about that? Look at that for a second. I need you to turn and talk to that partner. And I want you to talk about this. Is he right, not C? Or do you have a different thought on that? Talk to your partner. But you don't think C is. So why do you think C's wrong? Okay. So what does the denominator tell you? The fourth tells you what? Okay, 4 pieces. And the pieces you said have to be what? Okay, for the denominator or the numerator of 1. But if you have 4 pieces, all the pieces have to be what? You said equal. Okay. And so you're saying those aren't equal, so that's why. Okay, let's come back together. Let's talk about what your partners discussed. We have on the table here that A and B are correct, but C is wrong. So let's talk about some thinking about that. What did your partner tell you? What did you hear in your discussions that you would like to share?
We both agreed that since it's not all equal pieces, that it's not 1/4 because they're different sizes.
Okay, so tell me your next week. Caroline says that because this one, there are 4 pieces, but she's saying they're not equal, and so it can't be 1/4. How many people agree with that thought? You may have a different thought than Carolyn? Over here, right there.
I believe C is actually equal to 1/4. The reason is just split the rectangle in half and this can be come out and there's a regular square.
Oh, so tell me your name, sweetheart.
Edwin.
Edwin, I remember you, Edwin, from John Coleman. I remember these faces, names don't come to me as well. So listen to what Edwin's saying. Edwin, let me make sure I'm capturing what you're saying. You're saying that you see a half here and a half here,
Yes, sir.
and now tell me why you're saying that this is 1/4.
If you just split the line between those 2 rectangles at the bottom, you can see that there's actually the same amount as the normal that is actually equal to 8.
So if I split this way,
Yes, sir.
oh, what do y'all think about what Edwin's saying? So if he split this is a half and this is a half. What do you think? You agree? What do you say? So does that change some of your answers? So this is a 4? Oh, some of us are changing our minds. Some of us are still not convinced, right? So let's think about that. If this is a half and this is half, here's what I want you to talk to your partner about. Are you ready? I want you to talk to your partner about, do you see this in any of these 2 pictures? And if you do, where is it? Where do you see it? Turn and talk. Do you see this? Well, what makes the top half of shaded first fit in one of those pieces at the top? You had it in front of you. All right, let's come back together. So, fourth because he can see a half here and a half here, and those are equal, and that these were equal. And so he's like, I see these equal pieces, but they look different, right? So what did you guys talk about here? Could you see this in another picture, and if so, where? What about over here? You see this in B? Do you see, what's your name, sweetie? Jacob says he sees this in B. Do y'all see it in B? Anybody else see it? What do we need to do to this? Ah, there you go, you did it. She went like that, right? Let's just flip it up. Do you see that would be here?
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. Could you replace these with these?
Yes.
Maybe, and then we would have a fourth. But is this a fourth? Are these four pieces, y'all all have told me they have to be equal.
No.
They're not? They're eighths? So you're saying they have to be equal. What does it mean to be equal?
All the same.
All the same. Same what?
Same
They-
size.
Oh, same shape, same size. Which one?
Size.
Same size, you're saying. So let me ask you to talk about one more thing before we wrap this up, okay? And look at one more picture. Could I get this piece that's shaded? Could I do something to it and make it fit? You're telling me they're the same size. If they're the same size, they'll fit together, right? Could I do something to this to make it fit in there?
Yes.
What do you think, sweetie?
So if you take the shaded rectangle
Uh-huh.
and then cut it in half,
Okay, cut it. Can y'all visualize this? I can't draw on your screen, so just make sure.
and then
Cut it
you take
down.
that half and put it on top of the other half, and then it's the square shape.
Did y'all see that in your mind? I know I can't move it around, but tell me your name, sweetie.
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn is saying if I cut this in half and I take this piece and slide it over here, look, it will be a 4-2. Or I could take those two pieces, those eights that you all are talking about, and slide it up there. So what do you think? Is this a fourth as well?
Yes.
So you guys told me the pieces have to be equal, but do they have to be identical in shape? No, they have to be identical in what? Size. So the size has to be, the area has to be the same, right? Would you click for the next slide to come up? Now look at this one. Knowing what we just knew about that, look at this picture. Thinking about which one of those is a fourth, if any. Remember, we're in T and ready, right? Could be none of them, or it could be all of them. So thinking about what is it? All right, hit thumbs up. Remember, thumbs up. Remember what you know about a fourth, what you just discovered in the last one. Now, before we share out answers of which ones you think represent a fourth, I want you to turn and talk again. Talk to that neighbor about which ones are a fourth and which ones aren't, and why. So turn and talk. Talk to your neighbor. Okay, so let's come back together. You all shared very well with your partners about your thought process. So who wants to share something that you thought or something that your partner said that you thought, oh, that's a good idea. Somebody that hasn't shared that wants to share with me again? Oh, in the back there. What do you think, sweetie?
We said that we only think C is correct.
They only think C is correct. What are y'all thinking about that? I have a lot of agreement. I see this. Me too, right? I see some that are not so sure that they agree with that. So let's talk through it. Tell us why your
Okay,
group picked that.
because on the last slide, we saw that if you could have put some shapes the same size as like another figure,
Right.
it could be the same thing as 1/4. But if you look at B, it doesn't make sense because if you were to divide it into like pieces, they wouldn't all be the same size because it's two tiny rectangles and then two big ones.
So she's saying they're not the same size. Would y'all agree with that?
Yes.
But they're also not the same shape either. But we discovered on the last slide that sometimes they can be different shapes, they just have to be the same size shape, like we can cut them up and put them in there. And tell me next week, Raquel saying, you know, I can't cut this one up and stuff it anywhere, like I can stuff it here, but there's not 4 of them that are equal. Other thoughts about that? Raquel has her thought about B. Other thoughts about A? Because some people said A wasn't right too. What do you think, Carson?
I don't think A is correct because of, so if you look at the dimensions, they're all 2 triangles and they're all 2 trapezoids. And both of them are different shapes.
Okay, so they're definitely different shapes. Would y'all agree with that? But aren't there 4 pieces?
Yes.
But I thought the denominator told us how many pieces
They're
there
not,
are.
they're not all the same shape.
Oh, they're not the same shape, but also what's more important?
Size.
Same size, right? So there's 4 pieces, they're not all the same shape, but are they the same size? No, definitely not. These are much smaller over here, right? So looking at that 4 equal pieces have to be. So you guys did a great job with your number talk today, kind of clarified the shapes of the pieces have to be same size and not just the same shape, right? You guys did an excellent job. Thanks for letting me come in and do a number talk with you all today. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Enjoy this afternoon's beautiful sunshine, and good luck with the rest of your testing.